Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is your Committee on Education. Today's date is the February the 5th. It's 2:02 p.m. and we are in conference room 309. We have about a dozen bills, a little south of a dozen bills on the agenda today. First up we have is HB 2185. This is regarding additional protections for sports officials. And first up we have is Deal E, offering testimony in support.
Chair Woodson, Vice Chair Lachika, members of the committee, Sean Tajima, Assistant Superintendent, testifying on behalf of the Department of Education. The department stands on its written testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Next we have the Charter School Commission, offering testimony in support in person.
Aloha, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair Lachika, members of the committee, PJ4 on behalf of Dr. No and on behalf of the State Public Charter School Commission, we stand on our submitted testimony in support of HB 2185.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you for being here. Next we have AG's office, offering testimony, providing comments via Zoom or in person.
And aloha, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair Lachika, members of the committee, Deputy Attorney General Alan Nakau on behalf of the Department of the Attorney General. So we just provided comments. We appreciate the intent. We do know that what our community is looking for in a bill like this. However, we did recommend several action items, recommendations, mostly in regards to the first two sections of this bill. And we did provide some recommendations on the last few sections, notably to make them more consistent. This bill is trying to accomplish a lot, both in the civil actions as well as the criminal actions. As to the criminal actions, we do ask that in order to be consistent with the special classes that are designated, the raising of the sports official designation in sections 3 and following, we do think that by raising that level, we should also include that substantial language in front of bodily injury. We also have comments in regards to what a sports official definition is. But going really to the crux of it, or the heart of it, is really this introduction of civil actions. So the Department of the Attorney General, we represent the state employees and other members, even volunteers that fall under the category of essentially an employee. But it's never been the purview of the department to represent those people, whether the state or the employees in their individual capacity for something like a plaintiff suit. So we do recommend at this time that there be amendments to really focus in on who would be covered under the Department of Education, specifically to allow for some kind of policy that would give the departments themselves leave to request private counsel on behalf of a party such as a sports official. So, and in doing that, we think that removing the second section is probably in the best interest, just to make it clear if section 1 was amended. And I will be available for comments or questions. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't glean that from your testimony, so I'll talk to you after the hearing when we take a recess. Okay, we also have the Office of the Public Defender offering testimony in opposition.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Again, my name is Haley Chang. I'm the First Deputy of the Office of the Public Defender. And I do want to, of course, note, as I have done previously, from the outset, acknowledge and recognize that our testimony in opposition is in no way to diminish the special protections that we believe certain people should have, sports officials included. I also want to frame our opposition as that it's going to be limited to the increased criminal penalties, and we're not really commenting on the other sections of the proposed measure.
So this is the Committee on Education. We deal with the policy through the auspice of, does it create a good situation for better delivering educational delivery systems, not through this stringent filter of legal policy.
The measure is to change the penal code.
Correct, and that will be handled by the next committee. that part.
So I just want to understand, are you stating that this committee is not open to hearing feedback on the legality of the law that you're attempting to move forward?
That's not what I said.
Okay?
I said this is the Committee on Education, and we look at the proposal through the auspice of, is this good policy for education, not the legal aspect of it. We have teachers on our committee, not lawyers.
I understand that, Chair, and with all due respect, I regularly appear in front of various committees in front of the legislature, not all of whom are in the business of the penal code directly. To be fair, I've never had a committee member or a chair or a vice chair not be open or receptive to the feedback that we have to offer, because our role, which we take very seriously, is to comment on the legality as we see it of the criminal measure that is before the committee. The last time that I was here, there were a lot of really insightful questions that your committee members asked about the law, the vagueness, the wording, all of these things which is intended to provide insight to this committee about the validity of the measure and whether it will withstand constitutional or judicial scrutiny. So if the chair's position is that you are not here to hear feedback on that, then you're correct. I am not an education expert. I am a legal expert, and I'm here to offer my testimony accordingly. But I will defer to what you're saying if that's your intention.
Yes. I'm not gonna say any more or less on it.
Okay, and I also just want to note that the last time I was here, there were comments made about the timeliness of our written testimony and where I wasn't
Recess.
even given the opportunity.
Talk to you outside.
conversation with the chair and vice chair, and what I was told would not be considered or would be the limited scope of the purview of this committee. I had intended to testify, as the Office of the Public Defender does, on certain problematic aspects that we see of the measure legally, but based on the feedback and the direction of the chair, I have been told that that will not be considered by this committee, so therefore I have been encouraged to stand on my written testimony, so I will do so.
Thank you so much for being here. Again, this is the Committee on Education. We have a legal scope in which we are considering policy prescriptions, and so this committee is looking at these policies based upon that scope, not strictly on legal matters. Okay. Going on to the next, we have Hawaii Association of Independent Schools offering testimony in support in person.
Aloha Chair Woodson, Vice Chair La Chica, members of the committee. My name is Diana Dollier. I am here as the Executive Director of the Hawaii Association of Independent Schools, and I stand on my testimony in strong support of HB 2185.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
Thanks for your
you.
testimony. Next, we have HSTA offering testimony support in person.
Stand on a written testimony.
Thank you. We have HGEA offering testimony in support. We have Kaneohe Elementary School principal offering testimony in support. Wanaloa High School offering testimony in support. Athletic Director. We have Hawaii High School Athletic Association offering testimony in support. We have Hawaii State Basketball Officials Association in support. And we have several individuals all offering testimony in support. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony on HB 2185? Seeing none, members, are there any questions?
I had a question, Chair, but it was for the public defender. And I do just want to put on the record that I understand the purview of this committee, but we do need an opportunity to ask questions about the legality of the bills because it is going to go further. So I understand, I respect your decision as a chair, but I'm just going to voice my opposition to your sentiments, just for the record.
Thank you for your words. Any other questions, comments? Okay, going into the next bill, we have HB 2621. This is with regards to student misconduct. First up, we have Department of Education offering comments.
So good afternoon, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair La Chica, and members of the committee. I'm Heidi Armstrong from the Department of Education, and the department stands on its written testimony offering comments.
Thank you for being here. That's all we have on our list. Is there anyone else? HB 2621. Seeing none, members, are there any questions?
Chair,
Please go ahead.
for the department. Thank you so much for your testimony and for being amenable, I think, to take elements of this measure into what you already do in your annual report. Can you explain a little bit more about when you mentioned that this information is housed within the department's electronic student information? Is that Infinite Campus?
Yes,
And that's not public?
correct.
Okay.
But we can, for the additional components, we do want to be as transparent as we can while still protecting student privacy. And we do agree that some of those components would be valuable information to include in our annual report. And we've specified which ones in our testimony.
I appreciate that, and I do appreciate the breakdown. Can you share if there has been an uptick in on-campus violence in the last couple of years? Because that data is not public, it's hard to be able to tell by campus. We just get phone calls or we see it on the news.
Right, we have, there's not an uptick in suspensions. There's for assault and fighting. We do have for the disciplinary, in our report for the disciplinary measure, more in-school suspensions than, that is on the uptick. But we do have the data on individual schools, which is not included in our annual report, but we do have that data.
So if I understand what you're saying, but if you don't have I guess the question is, how do you know it's consistent information if it's just housed within the on-campus private information that's held by school, right? There's no consistent form of noting what happens. You say there's an uptick in assaults and violence on campus, but there's not an uptick in suspension. So,
oh no, maybe I misspoke. We're not seeing an increase from 23, 24 in the, what I have in front of me is the suspensions. So typically it is a more consequential disciplinary measure. So for example, in 23, 24 for assault and fighting, and I'll just talk about out of school suspensions for the sake of time. There were 3,051, school year 24, 25, 2,864, and then school year 25, 26, 1,800. So it doesn't appear to be, and we're not at the end of the school year. So they don't appear to be increasing, but that's not reflective of the, I guess I'll leave it at those are the suspension data that we have. But internally, we do have all of that information in front of us. And so it's not waiting until the end of the year to look at individual schools. So we have that internally. It's just our annual report comes out at the end of the year, and it doesn't have the details that you've mentioned, but we don't think that because we have the information and we do want to be transparent, we think we would be agreeable to putting in what we shared in our testimony to give
your
the
annual
public more
report.
information.
and then publicly allowing,
It's not access to the system because that has student identifiable information in the system.
I think the reality is that there's a way to ensure that we know what's happening on campuses, and if there is on-campus violence, where that on-campus violence is happening. Is it specific schools? Is it specific regions? And how that allows legislators to be able to make better legislation or potentially insert more support to certain areas and certain schools.
Understood.
For example, not every campus has an on-campus or community police officer. And I think that that's an issue, but we don't know what that data looks like because we don't have it in front of us. And because it's just kept at the school level, there's no way for us to know if it's consistent, if they are tracking the same things, how they're tracking that information. And I think that's the problem. So if the department is willing to put that on to make a consistent matter of tracking that allows legislators to be able to see that information and the public to be able to see that information, I think that would be very helpful.
So you're talking about maybe an online or a dashboard.
It would be great to see a dashboard, because I think there are a lot of correlations that can happen in those spaces. Chair, and if I may, one more
Please
brief
go ahead.
comment. I put this measure forward because about a week ago, my sister was hospitalized after being beaten on campus, at a middle school campus. We are consistently seeing on social media student violence, student bullying, on-campus violence, and it's not just after school. And I think until we have real data on what's happening on our campuses, we can't even give principals or administrators or school support staff the support that they need in order to protect our students on campus. And that's where this is coming from.
I hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Members, any other questions? I have a quick question for Dewey. Your testimony indicates that you would prefer the terms that are in Chapter 9 HAR. Is there some difference between the terms that are used in this bill and that?
Well, we have, so that there were some recommended terms, and so we did a term-by-term comparison. And when we did, so what we use and is offender for what the recommendation was facilitator. We used the word witness for a passive bystander, and the alternate. So we did a comparison. We're very comfortable with the definitions that we have. And I think we're still able to glean all of the information that is needed by using those definitions.
Okay, thank you so much. Members, any other questions?
Quick follow-up question, Chair.
Please go ahead.
When an incident, are the documented data are only for incidents that happen on campus?
If there is an incident that happens off campus that causes disruption on campus or has after effects on campus, then we do work with that incident.
So for example, I think more than a year ago, there was a fight that had transpired on the field just off the parking lot in the Mililani Middle School campus that involved family members. Would that have been included in the annual report?
I would need all of the details
Okay.
before I would be able to answer that.
Thank you.
Thank you, members. Any other questions? Seeing none, we're going to go to the next bill. We have HB 2179. This is with regards to DOE and e-bikes. First, we have DOE offering comments in person. HB 2179.
Good afternoon again. I'm Heidi Armstrong, and the department stands on its written testimony, which provides comments on this measure.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Department of Health providing testimony and support.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Garrett Hall, Chief of Emergency Medical Services and Injury Prevention for the State Department of Health. We stand on our written testimony as submitted. I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Hawaii Bicycling League offering testimony and support.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Eduardo Hernandez. On behalf of the Hawaii Bicycling League, I stand on my written testimony and happy to answer any questions if you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Ohana Unity Party and Kingdom of Hawaii Island offering testimony and support via Zoom.
Not present.
Not present. And we have two individuals offering testimony both in support. Anyone else? HB 2179. Seeing none, members, are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go on to the next bill, which is HB 2534. This is regarding robotics in schools and incorporating it as an interscholastic sport. First, we have DOE offering comments in person.
Good afternoon. The department stands on its testimony offering comments. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next, we have Charter School Commission offering testimony support in person.
Good afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair, PJ4 and members of the committee, sorry. PJ4, on behalf of Dr. Edno and the Charter School Commission, we stand on our submitted testimony in support of HB 2534.
Thank you so much for being here. Next, we have Kalani High School robotics team offering testimony and support via Zoom. Katie Ta.
Not present.
Oh, present. Sorry. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Katie Ta, and I'm a junior at Kalani High School and a captain of our robotics team representing District 4. Our team is known in the community for supporting STEM opportunities for younger students across Hawaii, but none of this would be possible without significant effort to secure funding through fundraising. Not all teams have this pre-established foundation of experienced students and mentors, especially since our mentors are often unpaid and overworked. This creates real barriers for students who want to participate but lack support. We're actively losing teams across the state, from roughly 200 first LEGO League teams from under Governor Linda Lingle, who designated money to robotics, to roughly 50 now in the present day. Our state used to host international robotics tournaments that would have over 100 teams participate. Robotics is a huge commitment. Students dedicate countless hours after school and on the weekends to robotics. Through this, we gain lifelong skills in engineering, problem solving, communication, leadership, and teamwork that prepare us for Hawaii's STEM workforce and beyond. Yet many students across the state still do not have access to a program like this because mentors are unavailable, unpaid, and unrecognized, and because programs do not always have the money to sustain themselves. HB 2534 helps address these disparities by providing essential funding and recognizing robotics as a supported, sustainable opportunity for all students in Hawaii. By investing in STEM, you are investing in future leaders and the workforce of our islands. I respectfully urge you pass HB 2534 and say yes to STEM, yes to Hawaii's youth, and yes to our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next, we have Sabre Dynamics. Mr. Tam offering testimony in support via Zoom.
Present.
Aye.
Aloha kako and mahalo nui loa, Chair Woodson, and members of the EDN committee for having me. My name is Joshua Tom. I am a junior, a part of James Campbell High School's Sabre Dynamics robotics team, Team 8871. James Campbell has had a team since 2007, and we have seen the brunt effects of disestablishment due to insufficient funding here at James Campbell. We are testifying in support of HB 2534 as it establishes robotics as a sport here in the state of Hawaii. Hawaii robotics is facing an epidemic. We are losing teams at a rapid rate. According to the knowledge that Sabre Dynamics has procured, we have known of several teams from elementary to high school who have lost within recent years. As of currently, McKinley High School is on a hiatus and is in need of additional support. Kamehameha High School, Aiea High School, and currently Kamehameha High School and Aiea High School are gone and have lacked teams, and Nanakuli High School is facing extinction without new mentorship. We see it fit that this bill be implemented as we want to grow our industries here in Hawaii. As mentioned in our written testimony, we hope the committee understands the brain drain facing the state and how these programs help fight for education and fight for it young. We take into account some concerns brought surrounding the bill and plan on addressing them very briefly today. Our first recognition is the variation of robotics competitions and their uniformity compared to other sports. In addressing this concern, we would like to bring up the Texas University Interscholastic League, which recognizes two programs, the best and first robotics programs. As stated with the UIL, they have accommodated both programs, which means that they have held a variety of competitions throughout the entire year. We note that Hawaii's largest programs, VEX and FIRST Robotics, we know that Hawaii does have these two large programs. Basing it off of the UIL's model, we know for certain it is possible to implement these programs along varying degrees of play. The DOE prioritizes standardized testing under topics such as math and science, categories robotics targets. For students who are unable to physically apply themselves to certain sports, what else does the DOE provide for students to be competitive? Why should students who face disabilities or health concerns be disenfranchised from the competitive opportunities on the same level as, the football team? In recognition of the concerns regarding appropriations, we wanted to address the issues surrounding the DOE backing. While many teams, especially startup and developing teams, do need support with material costs, we wanted to recognize our colleague teams. A majority of teams are able to source funding for competitive fees and equipment through sponsorships, grants, and other competitive types of funding. And while many other sports teams rely on scholastic funds for these resources, this bill is meant to target our largest concerns, which are the coaches. Mentorship is very difficult while robotics is still classified as an after-school program, especially on the high school levels where clubs receive zero funding for the teachers. Unpaid labor is not what Hawaii stands for, and yet we continue to work our teachers and our kupuna to the bone and take advantage of their dedication to education. Classification as a sport will continue to sustain teams in the state. The current teachers will be able to gain a wage for the 3, 4, and 5 hours that they commit every single day to their students. It will incentivize schools without teams who or have lost teams, teachers are very reluctant to dedicate this amount of time and work for free, and as any reasonable person should be. Classification as a sport will help provide starting teams the resources and materials needed. However, it will also continue to grow one of the largest industries in the world here in the state of Hawaii and bring opportunities to keiki who have never known what they are capable of. We continue to classify Hawaii's education as a leader in the nation. However, as we continue to let our teams die, we are failing our keiki. We are failing our students here in Hawaii. As we have learned, once a student is disenfranchised from education, they never gain the knowledge, experience, or passion for the craft. We have neglected our STEM sector, one of the largest growing industries in the world. If we want Hawaii to be a leader in education, economics, industries, and business, and STEAM, we must fund the education for our keiki by any means necessary. Thank you, and mahalo for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Ohana Unity Party, King of the Hawaii Islands, testimony and support.
Not present.
Not present. We have Reese, Shakia, offering testimony support via Zoom.
Not present.
Thank you. We have several individuals offering testimony, all in support. We have 2 pages of testimony, all in support, all individuals. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony on HB 2534? Seeing none, members, are there any questions? Quick question for DOE.
Yes. Testimony.
Please go ahead. Please state your name and your affiliate.
My name is Janelle Lee,
Okay.
and then I'm here with, you guys can say your name.
Hyung Martin.
And Mom Lisa.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Aloha. We'll be representing Team 359 Wailoa Robotics. Since the first robotics program was established at Wailoa High School in 1999, the state has embraced robotics technology as both an educational and a competitive platform.
Robotics is not just like any after-school activity out there. It provides life skills for students across all the world. Robotics offers an intense, competitive environment for everyone participating, with teamwork and intellectual abilities in an inclusive, accessible sport. Everyone can compete and go pro, finding careers like our alumni in engineering, medical fields, education, and vocations like a mechanic, machinist, and airline pilot. Robotics has provided me, as well as many other students, with an educational experience I would never have received in class. It has allowed me to communicate with my peers as you would in a sport team. As I learn how to use advanced machinery and connect people around the world in our common interests, if robotics become a sport, this experience could become more accessible to students all across Hawaii.
By supporting robotics programs, the state can ensure that Hawaii's youth will receive access to stable career paths while simultaneously stimulating economic growth. Funding can be used to keep talented individuals on our island and further educational innovation through STEM. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of keiki across the state, our team, and innovators.
Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else? HB 2534, robotics. Okay, seeing none, members, are there any questions? Quick question for DOE. If this is an interscholastic sport, is there going to be dedicated funding to go towards or for the schools for their programs?
Well, we would need funding. We would need additional funding.
But you would disseminate it to the schools?
If there was additional funding.
Okay. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
What is the current criteria that the department determines for like a, not like a, what do you call this? I guess an competitive activity to be identified as an interscholastic sport?
So I think there's 2 parts from what I'm hearing, robotics and then and funding for robotics, and then robotics, and should it be an interscholastic sport? If I'm understanding your question, if it were an interscholastic sport, the individual leagues would have to approve. The Hawaii High School Athletic Association would have to approve, and then funding would need to be provided to sustain that program. We're also looking at, and more research is needed on here, but typically in the interscholastic sports, there's 3 week period, three week periods throughout the year. No contact, no building, no constructing, would be allowed. Everything has to stop. So we need to do more research. Does that still apply, and how would that impact competitions? We'd also have to look at how do national and international competitions fit in with the interscholastic framework. So that's one discussion. Another, the department is so proud of all the kids who do phenomenal, they'll blow you away, phenomenal things in robotics. And we fund with what we have from within. The testimony is correct. Grants do need to be, grants, donations, etc. But it is a very important and valuable program for our students, and we're committed to supporting it. Money is always what allows programs to grow or programs to have to reach out to other sources.
Last year, we identified, passed legislation to identify surfing as an interscholastic sport. Do you recall if for that process the leagues had to approve it first before the funding came, and do you know how long we worked on that?
The process, I know we talked about it for a couple of years, yeah.
Okay. So there could be some similar kind of pathway should we find the resources that could enable something to happen. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Seeing none, going into the next bill, HB 2427. This is with regards to, we're going to go to HB 2168. This is with regards to students and homelessness. First up, we have AG's office offering comments.
Aloha, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair Pacheca, members of the committee, Deputy Attorney General Randall Watt, on behalf of the Department of the Attorney General. The department has comments on this bill. The bill seeks to adopt the definition for homelessness under the McKinney-Vento Act. And as it stands, it just refers to it without expressly putting in the language of the definition of homelessness in there. Looking at the McKinney-Vento Act, it does have a definition for homeless children and youths that the department recommends be added expressly to the bill for clarity purposes. In addition, the wording of the bill in subsection A1 of the proposed section 302AB on page 4, lines 7 to 11, provides that any unaccompanied homeless youth shall be entitled to immediate enrollment in the school regardless of the availability of documentation. This broad wording of documentation could be interpreted to include lack of documentation of immunization records, and that could conflict with Hawaii Rise Statutes section 302A-1154A. So the department recommends that if the intent of the legislature is to create an exemption or otherwise account for students who do not have the immunization records on hand, to amend either HRS 302A-1154 or include an exemption under 302A-1156. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Available for questions.
Thank you so much. Next we have testimony from the Statewide Office of Homelessness and Housing Solutions, offering testimony and support. We have individual testimony from Judith Clark via Zoom in support.
Aloha Chair, members of the committee. I'm Judith Clark, a community advocate, the former executive director of Hawaii Youth Services Network, and a person with lived experience of youth homelessness. I strongly support this bill. Homeless students experience many challenges and barriers in obtaining educational services. The supports and services mandated by the federal McKinney-Vento Act and implemented by the Department of Education enable many homeless students to participate in school. This bill will ensure that these critically needed services will continue even if federal policy and funding ends. This bill will provide a safety net for our most vulnerable children and youth. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you for your testimony. And apologies, I have testimony from the DOE. Offering testimony and support.
Hi. Yes, we provided our testimony and we've provided some comments to our testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. We have your testimony. Anyone else on HB 2168? Seeing none, members, are there any questions?
Question for the AG.
Yes, Representative?
In your testimony, you had noted the documentation requirements for enrollment, specifically the immunization records.
Correct.
So under the point of this bill, this is my bill, was to put into state statutes the federal law in the event that the federal law was repealed, given the circumstances we were living in under the current administration. But according to the federal law, so 42 United States Code Statute 1143-2, this is the U.S. Department of Education's guidance interpreting that section. So students experiencing homelessness have the right to enroll in school immediately, even if they are missing paperwork that is normally required for enrollment, such as birth certificate, proof of residency, previous school records, or immunization or other medical records. So under this U.S. code, it is designed to federal policy to remove barriers to enrollment, policies to remove barriers caused by missing records, and requirements that homeless youth be enrolled and have equal opportunities to succeed. Given the current language of the McKinney-Vento Act and what's currently happening in the DOE, do you still feel like we need to add language into this bill that talks about some of the things that you were talking about in terms of changing statutes or putting in provisions?
Well, yes, to align the bill in terms of to avoid potential conflict with the other statute that expressly discusses immunization records, that our recommendation that there be an amendment to 302A, 1154, or 1156 does stand. As far as the overall effect of the federal law, I mean, as you mentioned, my understanding is that the intent is that should those protections not be there, that the state law codifies or has equal protections for homeless children. So, but in doing so, with the state law as it is, that particular statute regarding immunizations does require amendment.
So the recommendation is more so if we did have to institute this because the federal law was repealed, this would help kind of cover the basis a little bit better for us as a state statute.
That's a good character.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Okay, going on to the next bill, HB 2427, unaccompanied youth and the DOE. First, we have DOE providing comments in person.
Yes, hi, thank you. The department stands on its written testimony providing comments on this measure.
Thank you for being here. Next, we have testimony from the AG's office offering comments via Zoom or in person.
Well, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair Chica, members of the committee. I would say my testimony echoes that from before. To clarify, my earlier testimony was actually about HB 2427, which offers to adopt the definition of homelessness under the McKinney-Vento Act. HB 2168 does not. So, just to clarify that. So, my previous testimony regarding the express definition of homeless children and youths, the incorporated, applies to HB 2427, not to HB 2168. Thank you. I'm available for questions.
Thank you so much. Next, we have testimony from Judith Clark.
Aloha Chair, members of the committee. I'm Judith Clark, a community advocate and a longtime worker with runaway and homeless youth. Unaccompanied minors are young people who are living on the streets without support or guidance from their parents. They are without doubt the most vulnerable and least recognized segment of our homeless population. And schools provide a safe place where they can go and learn, meet with their peers, get guidance from trusted adults. It is critical that they be allowed to enroll in school, participate in activities, and obtain transportation and transportation, meals, and supplies that are essential if they are to participate. This bill will provide a safety net for our most vulnerable homeless children. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you for your testimony. We also have testimony from two individuals, both offering testimony and support. Is there anyone else? HB 2427. Seeing none, members, are there any questions?
Question, Chair.
Please go ahead.
Question for the Office of Attorney General. Thank you. So in the Department of Education's testimony, they refer to a few HRS things that could potentially expose the department. More specifically, HRS 571-31, the mandated reporting. Would you be able to elaborate a little bit on the requirements of that in terms of them having to shall or may being in that language?
As far as under HRS 571-31, my understanding is that that the language is permissive, that it is may, not shall.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to the next bill, which is HB 2560. This is with regards to homelessness, Department of Education, and financial assistance. First up, we have is Still E, offering testimony in person, offering comments.
Yes. We stand on our testimony offering comments.
Thank you so much. Next, we have testimony from DHS via in person, offering comments.
Good afternoon, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair La Chica, and members of the committee. My name is Catherine Escartino. I'm the TANF Program Administrator here for DHS Director Ryan Yamani. We stand on our written testimony offering comments.
Thank you for being here. We have Judith Clark via Zoom in support.
Good afternoon again, chairs, vice chair, members of the committee. I'm Judith Clark, community advocate. My only concern about this bill is that it does not address the needs of unaccompanied students who are not living with their parents or guardians to provide consent for services or to make the application. And I am hoping that the bill can be amended so that the unaccompanied minors who are homeless can also benefit from these services. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we also have testimony from the Statewide Office of Homelessness and Housing Solutions offering comments. And one individual offering testimony support. Anyone else? HB 2560. Seeing none, members, are there any questions? Seeing none, we're going to go on to the next bill, which is HB 2565. This is with regards to providing a monetary award for Education Week and educators. First we have is Department of Education and Support in person.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Sean Bacon on behalf of the Department of Education. We stand on our written testimony in support and are available for any comments.
Thank you so much. Next we have Charter School Commission offering comments in person.
Aloha, Chair and Vice Chair, members of the committee, PJ4, on behalf of EDNO and the Charter Commission. The Commission humbly, we stand on our support of this measure, also the intent of this measure. And obviously, any efforts to attract high-quality educators here to Hawaii is something that we are definitely in support of. We do humbly request that the committee consider amending this measure by including public charter school teachers.
Thank you for your testimony. Next we have testimony from HSTA offering testimony support in person.
We stand in support and echo the request of the Charter School Commission.
Thank you for being here. We have two individuals offering testimony, one in support, one in opposition. Anyone else? HB 2565. Okay, seeing none, members, are there any questions? Seeing none, we're going to go on to the next bill, which is HB 2172, employment of retired teachers. First, we have the DOE offering testimony, offering comments in person.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Sean Bacon. We stand on our written testimony offering comments. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next, we have ERS offering comments in person.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members, you have the testimony from the Employee Retirement System. This bill has not been reviewed by the Board of Trustees, so the system doesn't take an official position. But there's, administration is offering some comments and a recommendation in the bill, not without, without any objections to the bill itself. The recommendation is if you should consider an amendment in the bill, page 5, line 4, which is related to the break-in service provision. Currently in the bill proposed at 6 months. The recommendation would be you should consider 12 months because that would make it consistent with other pre-existing sections in the existing statute. And then there are a number of components that are already in the bill that the ERS thinks should, as this bill progresses, that you should keep them in mind as they are critically necessary and valuable for the sustainability of the pension system. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have HGEA offering comments. We have HSTA in support in person.
HSTA stands in support.
Thank you, and we have testimony from two individuals, both in support. Anyone else? HB 2172. Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go on to the next bill, HB 2298. This is with regards to high school diplomas and vets. First, we have DOE offering testimony support in person.
Hello, Chair Lieutenant, Vice Chair Lachika, members of the committee. Keith Hayashi, Superintendent, testifying on behalf of the Department of Education. The department stands on its written testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next, we have the Office of Veteran Service offering testimony support. We have two individuals both offering testimony and support. Anyone else? HB 2298. Seeing none, members, are there any questions? Seeing none, we're going to go on to the last bill today, HB 2304. This is with regards to private schools and conditional gifts, not contracts. First up, we have the Office of the Governor offering testimony and support. We have Hawaii Association of Independent Schools offering testimony and support in person.
Aloha again, Chair Woodson, Vice Chair Lachika, members of the committee. Again, my name is Deanna Dolier. I am the Executive Director of the Hawaii Association of Independent Schools. We represent just over 100 independent schools across all of our Hawaiian Islands, and we stand in strong support of HB 2304. This bill is fundamentally about protecting the spirit of a gift. I want to clarify that the donor-funded scholarships, grants, and tuition-free educational programs should be considered charitable education gifts, not commercial contracts. For families, this ensures that scholarships ensure pathways and that access remains open to students. For schools, it supports stability and continuity in financial aid programs. When scholarships and tuition-free pathways are secure, our community benefits. It allows families to access education that's best suited for their children. And so with all of that said, I respectfully urge the committee to pass HB 2304, incorporating the amendments that are proposed by Kamehameha Schools, which I'm sure you'll hear shortly. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Kamehameha Schools offering testimony and support in person.
No, I couldn't know Malu Woodson, Kohopelu na Malu Lachika, Amena Lala Holo Ko Kenya Kumike, Kahona Alo. Mahalo nui for the opportunity to testify. My name is Kehau Abad. I'm the Vice President of Uluhiva, our Strategy and Experience Group for Tikula Kamehameha. I'm here testifying on behalf of our CEO, Jack Wong, and our Board of Trustees. Mahalo nui for this opportunity. I'm hoping to take a moment to just share a few highlights. We submitted, of course, written testimony along with some offered amendments for consideration. First, we want to mahalo Governor Green and his administration for their leadership in introducing this bill. We also want to acknowledge a circle of schools, organizations, and individuals who we stand among in support of this bill. The bill empowers schools and donors to define our relationships and interactions with our haumama and ohamna in ways that are authentic to our values, who we are and who we always have been. For Kamehameha Schools, this measure allows us to maintain our pilina with our haumama and our ohana, as our founder, Keali'i Poahi, had intended. Our proposed amendments seek to provide clarity and to strengthen the bill. We've included a red line draft in our testimony. We worked on these amendments in collaboration with Hawaii Association of Independent Schools, and we have shared them with the AG as well. The suggested amendments are primarily on page 3 of the bill, and they aim to achieve two main objectives. First, we propose using the simple phrase conditional gift in place of donor-conditioned educational awards, conditional gift. This change clarifies that both school-conditioned and donor-conditioned gifts are covered by the bill. Second, on lines 12 to 13 of page 3, the amendment provides schools with an opt-out option, allowing those that wish to engage in contractual relationships to do so. The remaining amendments implement the changes consistently throughout the bill. In closing, we respectfully urge the committee to pass the bill with amendments. We mahalo you for taking this into consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for being here. Next, we have testimony from the Hawaiian Council in person. Kuhio Lewis.
Hi, aloha. Madeline McKeag on behalf of our CEO, Kuhio Lewis, standing in strong support on our written testimony, making sure that all of the education provided to our homeowner are known as gifts to them. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. Pardon me, we have testimony from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs offering testimony and support. We have testimony from the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs in support. We have Keoni o Kakuhihila in support in person. We have testimony from Ko'olauloa Hawaiian Civic Club in support. Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation offering comments. Hawaii School for Girls, La Piecha in support. St. Louis Schools in support. Waianaua Garden Foundations offering testimony and support. Hawaii Community Foundation offering testimony and support. Pearl Harbor Hawaiian Civic Club in support. And we have several individuals offering testimony support, about 10, with one individual offering testimony in opposition. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony for HB 2304? Seeing none, members, are there any questions? Seeing none, recess. meeting. Thank you everybody for being here. First, we have decision-making for many bills. HB 2185, this is with regards to sports official and legal protection. We're going to accept DOE and AG's amendments. And besides that, we're going to defect the date to July 1st, 3000. Questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, please.
Okay, members, voting on House Bill 2185, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Amato.
Aye.
Representative Eslin.
Aye.
Representative Garrett.
Aye.
Representative Capella.
Aye.
Representative Keela.
Aye.
Representative Olds.
Aye.
Representative Moroka.
Aye.
Representative Souza.
Aye.
Chair recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Going on to HB 2621, this is with regards to student misconduct. Continue the conversation. We're going to pass this as a HD1. We're going to comport the definitions in section 2 with existing definitions in terms in chapter 19 of the admin rules. We're going to remove lines 8 and 9 regarding the department adopting rules. Again, those are already established, and we're going to defect the date to July 1st, 3000. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote, please.
Voting on House Bill 2621, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Noting all members present, is there anyone wishing to vote no? Any member wishing to vote with reservations?
Reservations.
Reservations for Representative Moroka. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to HB 2179, the E and B bikes. I was going to defer this, but I think I want to talk to the author first. But there is, this information is being provided by the Hawaii Bicycling League. But for now, we'll pass it with the effective date of July 1st, 3000. Give her a chance to see if we would have moved it still. HT1. Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, we are voting on House Bill 2179. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Noting the presence of all members for the rest of the agenda. Any members wishing to vote with reservation? Any members wishing to vote no? Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to the next bill, HB 2534, robotics as an interscholastic sport. Recommendations to pass this with HD1 with the effective date July 1st, 3000. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote, please.
We are voting on House Bill 2534. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members wishing to vote no? Any members wishing to vote with reservation? Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Going on to the next bill, HB 2168. This is with regards to students experiencing homelessness. Members, per DOE's testimony, we're going to start off with page 2, lines 17 through 20. We're going to change the district coordinator to a state coordinator. That's to keep the admin organization consistent. Also, similarly, we're going to have a state navigator as opposed to a district navigator. On page 3, we're going to change some language to state that students will have the right to attend the school that is currently serving their geographic area or the student's school of origin. But then besides that, we're going to add additional comporting language throughout per DOE's testimony. Also, we'll add a section per DOE's testimony that states if disputes arise over eligibility or school selection, we're going to add language to address that. Again, that's incorporated into their testimony. And then lastly, we're going to delete on page 4, lines 7 and 8 with regards to availability of federal funds because that might overcomplicate issues. And defecting the date to July 1st, 2000. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Members voting on House Bill 2168, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members wishing to vote no? Any members wishing to vote with reservation?
Reservations.
Reservations for Representative Muraoka. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to the next bill, HB 2427, unaccompanied youth and DOE. The recommendation is to pass this with the HD1 with the effective date. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2427, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members voting with reservation? Any members voting no? Okay, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Going on to the next bill, HB 2560, homelessness, DOE, and financial assistance. I concur with DOE's testimony. I'm going to move this program to the DHS. And defecting the date. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2560, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members voting with reservation? Any members voting no? Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to HB 2565. This is with regards to monetary awards for EdGrade recipients that are educators. We will accept DOE and charter schools recommendations. First, making sure that this is a one-time award for each awardee, that's an educator. Also ensuring that we're including charter school educators, and we're going to defect the date. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2565, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members wishing to vote with reservation? Any members voting no? Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to HB 2172, employment for retired teachers. We are going to accept the RS's recommendations and also to defect the date to July 1st, 3000. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2172, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members voting with reservation? Any members voting no? Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Going on to the next bill, HB 2298, high school diplomas for our vets. Recommend passage with HT1 and defective date. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2298, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members voting with reservation? Any members voting no? Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Lastly, members, HB 2304, independent schools and additional gifts. We're going to accept Community Mass Schools recommendations, and we're going to defect the date to July 1st, 2000. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2304, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Any members voting with reservation? Any members wishing to vote no? Okay, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.